Hello, greetings again from Mork's Saloon here. You can watch the almond milk video to learn more about why it's called Mork's Saloon. Anyhow, today we're going to be making our own coconut milk. Of course you can make it from straight coconuts, which we've done as well, but they're hard to find in the middle of New York City. So, in fact, I haven't found a coconut in New York City that isn't bad. So, we don't mess around with that in this city anymore. We too heavy to carry all that upstairs when you have to take it back to the store to complain. So instead, what we have started doing is taking good organic shredded coconut. I can't vouch for this being raw, but it's organic and it's shredded. And it's full fat. It's not defatted. Some coconuts come with 40% less fat, which is ridiculous. You need the fat. That's the whole reason you're eating this good stuff. It's medium chain triglycerides, and they're really, really good for you, contrary to popular belief. So what I've done is I've taken 2 cups of this great coconut here, just really awesome coconut. 2 cups of that, and about 1.5 cups of water. And I put that in here. And the water should be warm. Like I'll heat it up, not boiling hot, but you know, you don't want to kill your raw foods once again. But it should be, you know, definitely beyond lukewarm, a little warmer than that. And you pour it in and you leave it out for maybe an hour to just expand. And so that's 2 cups of coconut and 1.5 cups of water so far. And you get this stuff. That turns into this, okay? That's what it should look like. You don't want more water than you need, because then you're going to get watery coconut milk. That's why I'm telling you this, very important. So it should look like this when you're done, okay? And that may be enough for your blender. You may not need any more water, but I saved that I saved that 1/2 cup of water in case we needed more water when it goes into the blender. So 1.5 cups of water to 2 cups of coconut at the soaking stage. Save that 1/2 cup in case you need to, you know, put an extra in. So you can do 2 to 2. You can do 2 cups of coconut to 2 cups of water, but more water than that and you're going to be sorry. So that's why you need to be a little careful, because a watery coconut milk isn't so cool. So we're going to pour this in here. Just all in there. And depending on your blender, if you don't have a good relationship with your blender, then it's either because you hate your blender or because you haven't used it that much. So if you hate your blender, then it may be time to get a new one. If you just haven't used it that much, then you just want to be blending a few different things to kind of get familiar with its speeds and modes and moods and so forth, and you will probably be fine with no coconut in your blender. But again, soak it first because it's going to be much easier to do the job. So, whoops, I'm thinking we probably have enough liquid here to do the job in this blender, but otherwise we'll add a little more. So let's give it a shot. The earplugs go in because the Blendtec home blender here, which has been, I saw on TV, blending an iPhone, which is what sold us on buying one. It blended the whole iPhone into dust and feather, and what do you call them, springs and screws. So I figure that could probably blend most of our kitchen needs as well. It's been a good blender. It's not cheap, but it's definitely been a good blender. So here we go. Put the earplugs in. And then I use the whole juice setting on this blender, but again, your blender may have a different, you know, mood. Pulse can work on some if it gets stuck. Use the speed up and speed down buttons to kind of get the job done. But we basically want to obliterate what's in here, so let's give it a try. See, it does need a little more liquid. It's just not really moving enough. So, but we're getting this kind of, that's the idea. So I'm going to add an approximate 1/2 cup here. And then we'll have added again. And if you want a really thin coconut milk, I mean, just put extra water and go for it. But again, if you make it thin from the start, you can't thicken it. You can always make it thicker and thin it, so always think about that. Anyway, here we go. There we go. Actually, this way I can hear myself. Okay, so you can see we don't have a whole lot of liquid in there. I mean, it's a pretty porridgey kind of mass here, and that's kind of what you want. See, that's exactly what you want right there. Too much water and you're going to get the water through, so you don't want that. So thanks for the assistance from the Blendtec here. We now move over to the second step. For the almond milk, for those who have seen the video, I use the juicer as an intermediary step, but for this stuff, I find it really isn't necessary. The pulp, the coconut pulp is a lot more elastic. It's easier to just kind of squeeze it out. So we go straight to step 3 on this one, and basically put the strainer in there. And then we use a piece of flour sack cloth here, and this is, you don't use cheesecloth. The holes are too big in cheesecloth, the stuff will squeeze right through, it'll be a mess for you. Flour sack is a different thing. You can get it at Bed Bath & Beyond, you know, any home, Walmart, Macy's, wherever you get your kitchen stuff. This comes from a much bigger piece. I just cut a piece off, and it's holding together just beautifully, so you don't need to get real fussy about this. Very cheap solution, and you can rinse it, wash it, use it again and again and again. So there we go. And then we're going to pour some of this in here. And again, this is a very low heat process as far as not oxidizing your food. You don't want to cook raw foods, or, you know, shredded coconut may not be classified as raw, but it's only been sun-dried in most cases, or in a dehydrator at very low heat. So you pretty much have at least a semi-raw food when you're eating this kind of stuff, which means there's good enzymes and other good stuff in there that you want to get into your body. If you start heating it up, you oxidize things, you lose your food value, and it's not much work, not much use to sit there and make fresh coconut milk if you're going to sit and put it on the pot and heat it up. Then you might as well take it out of a can. You're pasteurizing it as you're heating it up. So want to keep it this way, and then what we use it for is things like coconut shakes with like a little piece of banana, a little blueberries. They're really good with coconut milk, and you actually shouldn't use blueberries with milk, because milk actually doesn't work with blueberries. Once you put milk, dairy on blueberries, the benefits of blueberries are not what they were. So, but coconut milk, no problem. So coconut milk, blueberries, and a little bit of banana, that makes a great shake for breakfast and lasts you half the day. It's very high energy food, coconut, and again, medium chain fatty acids. Very, very good for you. It's like up there with olive oil and everything else. So we're going to let this sit here for a little bit and go through, and then we'll squeeze it. So here we are. This is the full amount of coconut that we pulped up in the machine. So let's have a look and see where we're at. I always pick up, for those who've never done this before, just pick up the 4 corners. Okay, and kind of make sure you have all these sides up, and then you just grab it, just like that, and then you've got control. So this is how much dripped out by itself. Alright, so you can see that we have a bit of squeezing to do, but that's okay. That's what we'll do now. And if you do put it through a juicer, it will do some of this work for you, but I find it's not really worth. For coconut, it's not really worth messing up the juicer for doing coconut milk, but for almond milk it is, you know, so it depends what you're making. You can see our almond milk video to see how to make your own almond milk. Similar method to this. But I find coconut is much more elastic, the pulp is much more elastic than almond, and so you can really squeeze pretty good here. So again, I'm just doing this. Make sure you make a good twist right down by the base of the pulp. And then kind of squeeze it, you know, lock it in good. And twist it a few times. It's just like squeezing laundry or something. And then you just squeeze and there it goes. So it's pretty forgiving. There you go, just squeeze harder. But if you can't squeeze that much, if you have a wrist issue and you can't squeeze so much, that's why it's nice to have a juicer to kind of just put it through there, you know. Because then you can get a good part of the pulp out and squeezed before you have to do this part at the end. Because no matter what you do, you will always have to do this at the end with nut milk to really get the full max yield out of it. There we go. So now what I'm going to do is kind of open it up and adjust the pulp a little bit in there. Kind of massage it a little bit now that we have less liquid in it. And then the goal being to try to push it down to the bottom more, and then you can get the knot closer to the stuff again. And then try to see if we can't eke out a little bit more. Looks like it's still coming. But again, you start it with 2 cups of coconut, and you can see by the stuff in this little ball there's really only 1 cup left at this point, so you have actually gotten milk through this coconut very successfully. Now if you're using fresh coconut, you would just blend it. I mean, you wouldn't soak it obviously, you would just blend it in the blender with some warm water, because you do need that warm water to get the oils out of the coconut. That's still important, even with fresh coconut. If not, you can blend it with a little just water to get it pulped up, but then you have to soak your pulp with a little hot water, so warm water. But the key is you don't want to put too much water in, so you're best putting the right temperature water in right up from the beginning, because otherwise you'll end up making it too watery. So you really have to be careful about too much water. Having said that, the coconut milk we make in this house comes out to about half coconut milk and half water when we're done. Like when you see it settling in the jar, you'll see it's half and half. And when you buy it in the store, it's often 1/3 coconut and 2/3 water. And then they add things like nasty stuff like carrageenan and things like that to make it feel like it's all coconut, but it's really not. Those thickening agents are just there for pretty purposes, but it's bad for your body. This stuff has no junk in it. So here's what we have left over. So it was interesting to see see, that's about 1 cup right there. This goes in a Ziploc in the freezer. And then when we make like a carrot cake sweetened with a little banana, we don't use sugar. A little carrot cake with a little banana, walnuts and stuff. We put coconut shredded pulp from the coconut milk process. We put coconut oil in the cake, and we put almond pulp from making almond milk, and it's basically all free food. I mean, this stuff you would throw away. If you have chickens though, they really love this. You can feed it to your chickens and get really good eggs out of it. We did that in Hawaii for a while. They love coconut, these chickens, so sometimes it'd be nice to share your pulp with your chickens. I don't know how they feel about almond pulp, but they love coconut, probably because of the oils. So there we go. Just going to get the most out of this here. There we go. And then you can just fill the bag, keep it in the freezer, and that way, again, it just keeps until you're ready to bake with it. You could also make coconut rice, put this in rice in the rice cooker, or the pot when you cook your rice, and you'll get coconut rice. You might want to add a little coconut milk also when you're making coconut rice for flavor. You can also put it in oatmeal or whatever. I mean, this stuff you could do whatever, but again, you know, you don't want to heat up the milk. You can. This is kind of junk at this point, so heating that up in a cake I don't have a problem with, but this stuff here should not be heated up, because it really will kill your brand new good, you know, great coconut milk. So try to eat it in its, you know, unheated state, because you're going to get more out of it nutritionally. So for this, we just take a jar and pour it in. And then you want to keep it, you can keep this in the fridge for a couple days. You do want to keep it in the coldest part of your fridge and cool it down pretty quickly. because it's sensitive. Coconut milk is pretty sensitive stuff. And there you go. We'll have a little taste here at the Mork Saloon. Oh, that's good stuff. Nice and creamy. So what you can use this for is, it depends on your taste preferences as it is, because some people love to put this in their coffee or tea. I personally don't like coconut milk in my coffee or tea. I prefer my almond milk in my coffee or tea. This stuff I really like on things like sweet potatoes. That's sort of a Polynesian tradition, to toss coconut milk on your sweet potatoes. They have sweet purple potatoes in Hawaii that's really good with it, but a regular yam cooked up and with coconut milk on it, and copious amount of coconut milk, is very delicious. It's almost a dessert. Very healthy for you. And then those breakfast shakes that I mentioned before, very, very easy. You know, just pop in some coconut milk and make, put a little banana and berries, and there you go. And you're good for 4 hours. It's very full energy food, very high energy food. And if you sort of still like a drink once in a while, there's actually a drink that's really delicious. You can make a White Russian using coconut milk. And it, little Kahlua, what do we put in that thing?
Yeah, a little Kahlua, vodka, coconut milk.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Vodka, Kahlua, and coconut milk. Usually the cameraman is the one who makes them. And of course put on ice, you know, and then just make a little White Russian with coconut milk. Impress your friends. It's delicious. And again, you're drinking it cold, so you're still not oxidizing your coconut milk. So it's okay. Let's see what else. If you don't get to use it all, keep this for a couple of days. Almond milk is 36 hours. This one I feel is 48 hours is okay to keep in the fridge, as long as it's in the coldest section. And then if you don't use it all, you don't have to worry about it, because you can just take whatever's left over and before it goes bad, and then pour it in a Ziploc, as long as there's no holes in it. Close it up and put it in the freezer, and then you basically have the ingredients for another shake when it's time to make one. So that makes for easy breakfast and very healthy breakfast. And again, I promise you, if you put 2/3 of this in a blender with a quarter of a banana and a little handful of blueberries, you will not be hungry until about 4 hours later, maybe 5. It's very high energy food, so and very good for you. So I don't know if your cameraman can think of anything else to use your coconut milk for. I mean, it's great on mahi-mahi and things like that. I have a Tahitian vanilla sauce that uses it, but again, you're heating it up now. So we're trying not to do that. And some people, of course, will just like to drink it. Just glug it down and enjoy. So that's the way, though. Make your own. No carrageenan, no nasty stuff, no nothing. No BPA from the can or anything else getting into your food. Just straight old coconut.